I was captain of the old Widnesians in 1950. We played on the grammar school playing fields, and we just had a hut. I can't remember how we heated the water, but there was a communal bath, which I suppose would be non-usable these days, not even approved of. Later, after I left, the clubhouse became the Crown pub, and it was, as I remember, it was a lady licensee, and she reserved a room for the old Wids. So they'd train in the gym in the school and then go and drink as much as they could manage. One or two were criticised by the landlady because they didn't drink enough. I don't think that'd apply these days.
I'd like to thank the club for entrusting me with the honour in our centenary year of doing this job. I hope to do it to the best of my abilities, with a smile and a pint, whether we win or we lose. Shaking hands in the bar, having a natter about how the game went. Rugby as it should be played. I'm looking forward to a season working alongside whoever I need to work alongside, whether it's the first team, second team. Saturday was fabulous with the kids. The Griff runs, the enthusiasm from the parents at that level is great, and if we can see that come through, then I think we're probably in a good place. That's what a rugby club's about. It's about community. It's about the people involved. I'll do my best, and I hope to see you all on the sidelines or in the bar in the next season.
I've seen him when he was at the Rugby League.
Lancashire Trophy there. And then,
yeah, so I think it was repurposed at a few, is there?
No, I played in that final, 97-8.
That's 1997.
Yeah, 1997, yeah. Yeah, one of my last games. What I will suggest to our media team, and if you're agreeable, is that we try to get a picture with the Challenge Cup and this together.
Oh yeah,
the first trophy we won,
wouldn't it? Yeah.
and the latest trophy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a bit light. But I mean, trophies from that era are so much better than the things that they make these days. I mean, you'd see that Super League trophy, and we don't win it because it looks horrible.
Who's better looking? What? If it had been this big, would I have got twice as much money?
It's it's great to hear the story, certainly about this one. Being the first trophy that obviously both clubs, Warrington and Saints, won, and when Warrington won it, it was a knockout competition. And then Saints won it, and it was kind of a league format, league trophy, which obviously at the moment both clubs hold. Obviously you've got that at Warrington, and we've got the Super League, so it's great how it's come around. But to hear the history of this trophy and how it all started, and then for
come to the end of my second presidential year. We finished off with a tour down to Exeter, which was somewhat of a surprise but thoroughly enjoyable. The lads finished slight second, but it was a good time for all. Cheers. Give us a song, Jed.
Welcome to this centenary video to celebrate a club who have officially had 3 names but are universally known as the Widnes. My name is Carmel Rourke and I shall be your guide throughout a 6-mile tour of our town, looking at some of the local landmarks and sites that have played their part in this wonderful club's history.
I am Tom O'Neill, I've been captain now for 3 years and I've played at places I never thought I would.
Just down the river from the Rudy there is a pub that has links to the Widnes, and then a bit further down the river there's also a house that has links to the Widnes.
Partially financed by the success of Tom Brown's school days, Thomas Hughes bought this house on the banks of the River Dee.
But yeah, it's great looking back at the origins of the game.
Well, he sent me in search of somewhere called Effingham House, which is in
D Hills Bank, which is on the River Dee in Chester. And this was a bespoke home for the guy who wrote Tom Brown's School Days. Tom Brown's School Days. And the coincidences seem to be that when you flip back through some of the old stuff, that there were games regularly played on the Rue Dee, which of course is the oldest racecourse in the country, where Chester Racecourse is now. So on that huge piece of ground, just in the city centre of Chester, was that they actually played football, stroke rugby, whatever, with no rules.
No. But they wouldn't have even had a pitch. They'd have probably had hedges as the boundary.
I'm Naomi McAllister and I work at the Palm House. As we know, the Palm House itself was built in 1896 and was gifted to the City of Liverpool from a local benefactor, Henry Yates Thompson. So this was meant to build as a centrepiece to the park and was really for the enjoyment and health and well-being of the local townsfolk, similar to Sefton Park itself. So Sefton Park was sold to the council in 1867, and then the park itself was opened in 1872, and Prince Arthur would have said that it was for the health and well-being of the townsfolk. And we know that it has a deep history of sports involvement with the cricket club, the bowling club, and a lot of cross marathon training. And so it sounds like it could have been likely that they would have also been rugby fans as well. So that certainly lines up with some of the proposed stories around the first game.
We're on the location of the first ever game played in Lancashire. It used to be Liverpool Cricket Club. As you can see, it's now blocks of flats and an oldish factory which wasn't here in those days. There's the spot, and this monument, I can't guarantee it's here for that reason, marks the spot where the first ever game was played in Lancashire.
So it's what, 80% plastic and 10% grass?
No, it's about 10% plastic.
It's all plastic?
No, 10% plastic.
Oh right, and the rest is glass?
So just basically put it down. Of course.
Vikings, also formerly known as Widnes Chemics, a club which has strong links with the Wids and has seen many players cross over codes throughout its history.
The reason we've got these tables down here, not the normal furniture of a pre-match buffet, mainly come because of an idea that Mike Buck, because Bucky likes a do. And we were talking about the centenary of the club, and he said, you know, Spike, it's 50 years since the curtain raiser at Wembley. I think it'd be nice to do something, wouldn't it? I said, well, do something. He said, what should we do? I said, just get the lads together. I said, come down the Wids, have a pre-match, it's a good day out, and we'll go from there. And then I thought, 50 years ago, 1975, a very, very significant year for rugby in the town, because Saturday the 10th of May, Wembley Stadium, Widnes beat Warrington 14-7. Yes, and I think it was the catalyst of what was the coming years have been Cup Kings of Rugby League. So 50 years ago, very important for the town of Widnes as regards rugby.
We've just come into Widnes Town Centre and lo and behold, look who we found. So in the days preceding the Wids annual dinner, evidently the first smoking evening was held at Kirkham's Cake and Bakery Store, which is just over there at the moment and is currently Entwistle Green Estate Agents. But according to notes, Mr. Calvert, the owner of Calvert's department store, was once known to have raised his glass to Rugger and the King. So perhaps the dinner was indeed held at Calvert's Cafe, where they also did a wonderful Welsh rarebit.
Widnes, Wigan, Warrington, St Helens, all the familiar names played each other in this cup. One of the early rounds is Warrington at home to Widnes. And 10,000 turned up, would you believe? And again, they're playing in not much more than a field. There was a grandstand of sorts. It was could do with the picture of it. You guys will have seen it when we did the presentation, but it's something as kids you'd put together, you know, it's 10-year-old kids. Needless to say, it collapsed. So the game had to be stopped at that point, and but you know, 2,000 came from Widnes on trains. They put special trains on, and you're talking what, 1886? This, it's quite unbelievable. Warrington won
more
that.
reliable than now.
Yeah, probably. They probably were.
And this was Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, Saturday afternoon. Warrington won. We actually went on to win the competition. It's the first trophy, and it's how we met, really.
Yep.
In that Wids had won that trophy 5 years ago. Yeah, so Tom Brown's stories, they related how rugby started, formalising the rules of the sport. And so a lot more people then wanted to play a formalised game. And it meant if two clubs had got playing the same rules, they could play each other. Whereas clearly prior to that, it'd be just a battle, you know, a bit like the Eton Wall game that we've heard about, whereas nobody's got a clue what's going on or even where the ball is. But this formalised it, and a lot of clubs came out of that. And with the rules from working, so Sunday working disappeared, and Saturday then became only at 1 o'clock. I mean, you've got leisure time in the afternoon. What are you going to do? So for the working man, he could then start to play sport. And you played football under many rules, so you'd associations. Sheffield had their own version. Rugby school had their version, which obviously just became rugby in the end. And it all got formalised. So that's how we started it. Not William Weller-Bellis running around picking a ball up. No. It's a nice story, but he's got a nice trophy out of it, hasn't he?
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, so the origins of the game, really.
Salford is now the home of Salford Rugby League Club and also the home of Sale Professional Rugby Union Club. club's development from the late 90s to the early 2000s.
Just around the corner, as you can see, World Rugby House.
I'm Chris Gaffey, I'm the chairman at Eccles Rugby Football Club. Eccles began here in the Eccles area in actual 1878. We played at Benchley Cliff Park, just off Eccles Old Road, on a site that is actually now Salford Royal Hospital, or probably the car park of Salford Royal Hospital. We played there from 1878 for a number of years, and of course at that time in history there was just one code, one form of rugby, and everyone played it. And many of those teams that Eccles played in those early years went on to become and leave the code and join the Northern Union. But that came a little bit later. So Eccles joined the Lancashire Union in 1886. Eccles won a local cup competition at Swinton in 1881. Swinton were obviously called the Lions because at that point Swinton Lions used to change in the White Lion pub and use that as the changing facilities, which was very common for teams of this area. When it came to 1895, of course, they'd been building momentum, as lots of rugby historians will know, with the movement towards the broken time and players who wanted to be paid to play. And of course, a lot of the men in this particular area worked in minings underground or on the docks, on what became the ship canal, or in the mills. And that movement gathered pace. There was a breakaway of clubs in 1895, infamously, Yorkshire and Manchester, and that left some clubs out in the cold. Swinton and Salford being two of those clubs. Eccles lost all of their players. It became defunct as a club and reformed itself in 1897. And that's why, as a club, we recognise 1897 as being our inaugural year, although our history goes all the way back to 1878. And around about the turn of the century, 1900, we actually played in a stadium, a ground with stands, which was previously played in by Barton, Barton being a Northern Union team and club. Eccles took over that ground because, ironically, Barton fell into financial difficulties and folded after just a few seasons. Eccles took over that ground, and so we played on the banks of the Ship Canal for many decades, with many famous clubs visiting us and crowds of about 3,000 or 4,000 spectators.
Something that interests you, Steve. You remember this one?
Okay. Oh, I do indeed. Yeah, the Widnes scene. Yeah, I mean, this started off as something as just a bit of a joke, really, a bit of a laugh, early doors, and it seemed to catch on, which I found quite surprising, really, because I'm not a particularly humorous kind of person, but it did go down really well, and people were desperate. People wanted to appear in it, and looking back at it now, it's not quite as politically correct as perhaps it should be. Everybody bought into it, which was good fun. There was nobody sort of likely to pull a face, and you know, signs that you're getting old. I mean, you can live without sex, but not without glasses. Your back goes out more than you do. You're proud of your lawnmower. It goes on, but you can see where we're coming from.
You can see where the one-liners came
Exactly, exactly. Look, if something's funny, it's funny, isn't it? And that was all that we ever tried to do, just make people laugh and make people want to play rugby and look forward to it on a Saturday. That was all we ever wanted to do. And if I've offended somebody along the way, then I'm sorry, but tough.
If there were no golf balls, how would we measure hail?
I slept like a log last night, woke up in the fireplace.
Apparently, owls don't mate when it's raining. It's too wet to woo.
The four most beautiful words in our common language is, I told you so.
My wife says I don't listen to her. Well, I think that's what she said. And the other thing about my wife, she thinks I'm very nosy. Well, she didn't think it. I actually read it in a diary.
My dad is like a laptop. If you don't touch him for 10 minutes, he will go to sleep.
Right, we are in the boardroom, trophy room at Saints. Great display behind us. Yeah, including the 2023 World Club Challenge Cup. Probably the best, probably we see the biggest win. The club in 150 years history. Actually, to go down there in Penrith and beat them in their own midding, and some good historic ones with the BBC Floodlit Trophy.
Floodlit,
yeah. Obviously. I mean, it's a glass town, isn't it? And they did have the rivalry at one time, obviously with Pilkington's Rex, were a professional team at one point. I mean, I don't know a great deal about the history, but I think I'm sure somebody told me that the guy who started it all came over here to work for Pilks. He was involved in the first game. No, it was something about Herman. They call him Herman the German. Yeah. It turns out he was French. But the German sounded better.
Well, it was interesting, Kevin, that you referenced the World Club Championship, because there's a guy in this programme back in 1976 when we played together who played in the Widnes side, the Canberra Raiders at Old Trafford. Yeah, Derek Pike. Yeah. Aletha. He's a good lad. Yes. Yeah. I remember him being a sort of I mean, I was only a year younger than you guys at that time, so I didn't really play against any of you and stuff, so I didn't really know. But I always remember Pikey. He stayed at school because you wind forward 2 years to under 19s, and Derek's there again. Yeah. And the other guys from St Helens in this one, John Unsworth, who would have been a year above you. Unky, we call it. Mosedale, who ended up at Broughton Park. Yeah. Didn't he? Yeah. Billy, one of the best mates. Where did Fordy end up? Fordy, he played for Warrington. Did he? Yeah. It's the Warrington Ford, Rugby League Ford, yeah. Yes, it is, Paul. Yeah. He was doing really well at Warrington. Career ended early with a bit of injury. Yeah. And the other names in this one are Pete Winterbottom, who, despite being a Yorkshireman, played for Lancashire schools. And then a guy called Nigel Melville played for Yorkshire that day, who's now, is he chief exec of the RFU? He's certainly on the board of the RFU, I think, or has something. I do remember the sort of year day, and I remember Paul was playing scrum half against Melville, and I thought Melville was like, oh my God, he just seemed to have so much space and time. Yeah, you could just see he was a good one. The odd twist in the tale in this one is that the guy who played fullback was from Bradford. I ended up going to university, sharing a room with him, and I was his best man. We hadn't met then. That's great, isn't it? It's great, isn't it? Yeah. We're just talking about Tony Marder as we were. I only ever played with him once, and it was I don't know why we were playing sevens. It was a pre-season sevens tournament somewhere, and I propped, Tony Myler hooked, and Tim Rhodes propped. Spud Jackson was playing, and I can't remember who else was playing for the Wids under whatever we were. And we fancied our chances. And the first game was against West Park, and I'm pretty sure you were playing for West Park. Anyway, we fancied our chances and got beat in the first round and had to go home early.
Can't remember. I remember Tony Myler played against Yorkshire. This is like the year after. The ball went one way and he's having a goal. And, he's a great player.
A while since you've been here. A lot of changes has happened. So we're going to have a look at your picture from the Lancashire Cup winning team. I mean, there's some good lads in there, isn't there? So there's you, Tony, and Kev O'Connor's there.
Well, at the time then, a lot of them would have been playing like in the team, you know, the teams up, like saying the seconds and thirds, and not many had played in the first, but you might get got the odd appearance.
But funny enough, Colin Rigby, remember that game against Edinburgh where you signed shortly after? I reckon it was my performance at number 8, not messing up at the base of the scrum when you scored under the post. You signed for Widnes. Colin Rigby got me after the game and gave me a telling off because I hurt this Scottish lad. He got me stuck in his low cut boots and ripped his ankle apart. Yeah. And he got me. He said, "That was terrible what you did." But it was an accident. So you got signed for Widnes and I got a telling off.
Yeah. So yeah, but Colin was on for that though, wasn't he? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Colin was the cleanest player going.
Pot calling kettle.
Yeah.
So show you my old third team. There you go. There's John Hammond there.
82, 83. Yeah.
Graham Cheshire. What a standoff he was. Yeah. Is Ali Moran on there? Yeah. He'd have kept you up the first team, Ali Moran. Slowest scrum half. He had to be the rubbish we gave him from the forwards. Yeah, that was John Jones. He was a good player, but he was tiny.
Yeah,
tiny.
Yeah, you can see looking a lot, but there's some big lads along the back there.
Yeah. So, as a reward for joining her at 17, Tony, I was president in 17, 18. And I've got to say that Jane did a wonderful job that year, and Sue Street. The amount of money she helped me raise that year, which these windows, that's what we paid for.
That's a great achievement, that's what it's all about.
You know when to remark it.
Yeah.
You have to measure it.
Yeah. You know when it was dry, you could see all the... He was going to get a drone man, but then it rained. Right, so Tony, you know Dave?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, indeed, yeah.
Tony signed for Widnes, Dave signed for Salford.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Tony's just saying the golf standard now, the pitch. Yeah, unbelievable. Right, James, wrote that. Owen. Right, Tony, I've done a lot of talking, but I've known you a long time. I know you're a quiet lad, and I know your memory is shocking. But our lives have been intertwined quite a bit. We're both from Southway. I'm the same age as your John.
Within 50 yards of each other.
Yeah, I think me and your...
Born and bred.
Yeah, me and John were born within a week of one another, I think. And then my dad got a job at Ford's and we moved up to Linton Crescent, and then I got back with the Milers when I come here at 17, and your John was here. Obviously you were a bit too young then for the Colts, but I think you and your dad were always watching it.
Yeah, I was watching the Wids from the age of 11, 12, yeah.
So what's your, what if you had to say in one sentence the Wids, what does the Wids mean to you, or what do you remember about the Wids? What is it about the Wids that we think it's special?
The Wids, well, friendships, I mean, like great friendships that, last forever, and they do. Like, it was only a small town, obviously, and rugby was a big influencing a lot of people's lives. And although lots of my mates at school, in the senior school, played for amateur rugby league clubs, I had no intention of playing.
Right.
They'd always ask me to go, come to the Tigers, come to Alton Hornets. But I was set on coming here when I finished, because of our John had joined like the Wids, and he used to come along and watch the coach before him, Jimmy O'Neill and Jimmy Nolte and Davy Allen, and the likes of them guys.
Did Mike Ryan have a big influence?
Oh, of course, yeah, because Mike was our school, one of the PE teachers, and he pushed anyone he could. Any promise at all, he was pushing them to come to the Wids, and that was, and I'm forever, grateful for him for that. He was a good friend of my dad, and people who I looked up to. So it was just great times.
So we were in the period where there was the war between the rugby union and the rugby league, and I'll always remember when the lads signed, you'd be drinking with them on a Friday in here. On the Saturday you'd have to go down to the Wellies to have a pint with them because they were banned. What were your feelings around that? I know Jed Sneed has a very strong opinions about it. In fact, he left the club when the Wids wouldn't let you play. But what were your feelings? Were you disappointed?
Well, it was. We knew about it long before. It was. You just had to be prepared for it.
Because
people had done it before. Exactly. That's it. Like you say, Peter Shaw, Howard John, Derek Hammond, Dave Moore, and you go on and on about players who had to, change the lifestyle because of signing, obviously, for rugby, a rugby league club. But that was, the regulation that the rugby union had, and you had to go along with it.
I mean, and rugby league was in your family, wasn't you? I mean, you had your Uncle Frank, which my dad was the reporter of the Weekly News and followed it. I think he went on the team bus, and he said Uncle Frank was unbelievable. And then your dad was a big influence on both you and your John, wasn't he?
Yeah, of course. My dad watched virtually every game he could, even at school. I'd know that, from the age of 8, I'd know that my dad would be at every game, he could be. He was fortunate he'd like to run his own business, so I suppose that was easy for him to get there. But it's that was a big, a great, push for us. He never ever pressured us to play or anything like that. It was our own choice, but we were just sports mad, as everyone. If Wimbledon was on, we were playing tennis. When the Test matches were on, we were playing cricket. It was just all sports, and it was great times.
Now, when you went to professional rugby league, was there anything you missed, like going on tours, like more drunken, bad behaviour, wasn't there? I mean, the Mad Wash tours here. Did you miss anything about rugby union?
I can't say I did really, because they were having pretty much the same good times in rugby league. I mean, it certainly wasn't as disciplined as it is now, as we all know. But no, we had good time. I had good times with both, in both codes, and I wouldn't change it. I'm just thankful for the time I had here. Thankful for the friendships and like they live on. I mean, I probably see more of ex-Wids players than I see of the rugby league players.
Because I remember once at Widnes Golf Club, me, Yancy and James had just finished a round, and in front of the clubhouse there was Big Jim, Dougie Lawton and the 2 O'Neills, and on the first tee was you and your Frank, and we were telling James the Jim Mills about being banned from New Zealand, and he couldn't believe. So we sat him down with Big Jim, and he was drunk, and he told him that his mum wouldn't buy New Zealand butter anymore. Then started singing the green, green grass at home. So, I mean, there is an interaction with, I mean, your Sean drinks with some of the ex-players, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So the times have changed from them difficult times, let's say, in the 70s, late 70s.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but that's how it was. I mean, it was pretty made up when it changed, though. No, because we had great friendships built that you could get on with.
So you had a lot of success in your rugby league career, but you also had success in your rugby union career because you won the Lancashire Cup, and we were looking at the photograph before, and there was, apart from yourself, there was a lot of great players who went on to play first team here and went on to sign professional rugby as well. Do you remember anything of that final?
Not really, no. I couldn't even tell you what score we won, but I mean that's no diss on my times. I mean, I just wish my memory was better, but I can't remember much about any game I've played in. Even my one appearance at Wembley, only as a substitute, but I can remember more about in the changing room than the actual game. I mean, apart from getting on at full-back that I'd never played in my life before because Mick Burke had gone off, and but it was unfortunate we got a draw there.
So
and then the replay. I didn't even get on the field. We got beat at Ellen Road by Hull, and David Topless run Eric Hughes ragged, and I was just sat there on the bench watching, and Dougie never chose to make a substitution. I don't even know whether he substituted the forward. I think Steve O'Neill was on the bench with me in the replay. And Fred Whitfield at Wembley, and he actually changed. He changed one way or the other, whichever it was. But I can't think whether the sub got on it. But he's a great coach, Dougie, but he had his funny ways.
I believe so, yeah. But I mean, as a Widnes fan now, they were the heydays, weren't they? The 70s and the 80s were the heydays. The Cup Kings,
the Cup
the League Kings.
Yeah, the Cup Kings started really with the teams just as I signed for Widnes, like the Reg Bowden and that lot. It was a start of a great period from then to like late 80s, 90, and unfortunately the game has changed that much. It's about money, and Widnes have been penalised because of that fact that it's a small town run by a committee. Didn't own the ground. Money,
still don't own the ground.
Well,
we've been on lots of tours in Britain, Herefordshire, up to the northeast with your John and Ryan in the Colts, and Staffordshire, Shrewsbury. Have you ever been on a tour?
I didn't go on any tours with the Wids. I don't know why. I can't even think whether our culture team did do any tours.
Because it was Franny and Rigby, wasn't it? Senior moment.
Well, initially it was obviously Mike Ryan when I first joined, but then Colin Rigby. Colin was when we won the Lancashire Cup. But I can't remember that for what reason I'd missed one. But
what about rugby league tours?
Well, we only toured the Great Britain tour. I mean, as Widnes, we didn't go. The only time we went away was if we were playing in a final, and we might go away for a night or two before the game. But that become less frequent as the years went on. I mean, in 1984 when I missed the final at Wembley, I obviously thought that I'll have plenty of time to play in another, thinking. But unfortunately, until the year I was finishing, they didn't make a Wembley final, which is 8 years or 8-9 years.
Well, I remember I'd just started courting Jane, your sister-in-law, and Sean had just been born, and you were off to Australia. I remember that well.
84, yeah.
And you've told me some. Did you go to Papua New Guinea?
Yeah, Papua New Guinea. Yeah, it was only for one match actually. It was only for a test match, but
yeah,
I think we had a week there, and that was the end of the tour. Yeah, highly a different place altogether than it was like going to Hale Bank.
You see this?
Don't put a score like So
well, you want to sign and buy it? Yeah, just in case you did.
Just put you. And your autograph as well, Steve. And
you know, 3, I think. So
it'll be the only Steve on his autograph.
It's a long time since I've done that, right?
Yeah, you don't write checks anymore, neither, do we? Stressful, this media work, isn't it?
Look up and smile.
Imagine having to do it every day, and like when you're coming off the golf course, you've got to go and talk about your round and how well you played, or how bad you played.
So who's the better golfer?
Steve at the minute. Yeah.
Our route passes the large expanse of Widnes Golf Club, which was founded in the same year as the Wids, sharing a long list of mutual members, medical support and a prisoner of war hut.
Today has become a great big part of both clubs. This club has been going 100 years, the golf club, and Widnes Rugby Unit has been going 100 years. So we look forward to today and hope that everything goes well for everyone that takes part.
This is Stockbridge in Edinburgh, and this is the ground where the first ever Rugby International was played. In 1999 we came here on tour with the under-13s. Outside Portobello Rugby Club, John Spencer was discreetly presented with this rugby ball.
Here we are at Widnes Cricket Club, a club with strong links to the Wids. To illustrate the point, past president and captain Charlie Morris has selected this Wids 11.
Well, sometimes, and again, if you're not there, Dave, or you're on holiday, and you have the team photo, you missed out.
Yeah.
But,
So the team photographs were done after the season ended on a Monday or a Tuesday night. And I used to think, just come home from work, I've got to go to night school, you know. Got to dash up there, get changed, have my photograph there. It's not worth it, so I never bothered. I never, that's why I never appear on team photographs, apart from the year I was captain.
no. Did you not get a little insert put in, Dave?
No.
Welcome to Heathrow on a chilly Tuesday morning, and welcome to my colleagues here around the table, past presidents all, Dave Herriman, Ivor Lewis, Crack Riley and Les Whitfield.
So Dave is former captain, coach, past president of Club and Lancashire, Clubman of the Year 1973, Heritage number 111 and the winner of Merseyside Sports Lifetime Achievement Award. Ivor, Heritage number 169, past president, Clubman of the Year 1987. He was Lancashire Volunteer of the Year. He's currently sponsorship secretary and he played until he was 65. Graham Crack Riley, former club captain and past president, Clubman of the Year 1976, Heritage number 140. Played until he was 70, a Lancashire Cup winner. And Les Whitfield, club captain, double Lancashire Cup winner. Past president, Heritage number 157, Clubman of the Year 1993. He played until he was 69. Although he did come out with immortal words, I wouldn't say there's a competition, but I think I'll play longer than him. Being Graham Riley.
Because it's an old boys club, or schoolboys club, let's pick from the people that played who went to school in the town. And then the on the buses was people who were in Widnes who played for the team but didn't go to school in Widnes. So that's the on the buses selection.
Right.
So the on the buses selection was done on a Tuesday here. You may essentially did it, I think, as a West Park lad. Bankfield was done by A.D. Newton and the O'Neill brothers. Fairfield was Charlie Morris. Fishermore was Jimmy. St Peter and Paul was Andy O'Neill. The Wad I asked was John McLaughlin. And St Joe's was Arm Twisting Jed. So that is essentially where each of them have been sourced from.
Okay.
With help. I mean, I think Trevor Rigby helped with the Bankfield
I think you helped with some of the fish stuff, Les, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that's where the history of the whole thing lies.
I personally, I thought he was the best prop in the club ever that I'd played.
Yeah.
Alan Jerem.
Well, is Alan Jerem on any of this?
I don't think so.
No.
There you go. And actually, that wasn't the name I was thinking.
What was the position you're thinking of, Neil, or could you recall that?
Unbelievably, Bruchet isn't on this, any of these. Paul Bruchet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't see Andy Ruski on there either.
Nope.
No. No.
A constant theme of the 6 Mile Walk is our industrial town's sporting heritage and the steady disappearance of works recreation clubs.
I started with rugby here at the Widnes in the Colts, and then I went to play rugby league at Salford, and then returned to Union playing with my brother at Birchfield. Many happy memories from all clubs. Nick Preston played for Birchfield 81 to 83, then went to Widnes to see if I could make it. Some people said I never did. Great club. I used to come drink here on a Friday night, still with my mate Chris Jones and all the lads. Come to the do's on a Saturday night, which were fantastic. I've been dropped off over there from the Widnes bus at 10 o'clock at night and gone in the club with my Widnes blazer on, which always went down well as with the lads. And then I come back in 95 after our professional era at the Widnes, and I went back to the Widnes in 2003. I now live just across the road, so I could have done with it keeping it open, but it's a shame these clubs got all finish. Changing rooms. Bowling green at the back by the houses there. We used to store the equipment for cutting the grass. Got a second team pitch here. Then that was the best pitch over there by Upton Bridle Path.
So when the lockdown happened, I was listening to podcasts which were pretty new at the time to me, and I said to Dan, I think we should try and do one. I'll look at softwares and I'll look at systems of how to do it, and we'll try one. And luckily Kevin Ledbetter always put his hand up for me to be a guinea pig basically. So when it comes to Trap the Egg in, the first rugby story is actually Kevin Ledbetter's. The lads were a bit hesitant to come on, so I was asking round, and Chris Atkins, a good friend of the club's, isn't he? He's a good friend of mine, he's been great with it. I messaged Chris Atkins and Chris come on, and then people don't want to follow a professional, do they? So then you're finding it hard to come after Chris, and then Paul Sculthorpe come on, who, no offence to Chris, is more well known, and then lads definitely don't want to follow Paul Sculthorpe, but a few of my mates do come on then that have played semi-pro, the likes of Ryan Millington, And then after Ryan, because our lads are friends with Ryan, so I'll go after Ryan, even though Ryan's done really well. And then it was just what I tried to do as an amateur, a professional. Every other week I tried to make it as neutral as I could, because I find the amateur stories just as impressive as the professional stories. So that's how Stop the Egging come around. And
so when the big game come then, do you remember the buzz around that National Cup game that they were playing in and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. 'Cause Tom kept going on about it, and I was like, "What's this Papa John's? What is it?" I was like, "Is it? Did we get pizza at the game?" Obviously, we didn't. But yeah, it was because it was new to them as well, wasn't it? Because the first time they did it last year. So it was good. There was definitely a buzz about it. Tom was really excited. I think it's because he knew they had a chance. So and it was his first year as captain. He wanted that kind of success, and obviously he got it, which was amazing. So happy for him. But yeah, leading up, it was really nice kind of to see the lads each week get kind of more and more into the zone and more competitive. Obviously, as they reached near to the final and then the final.
I put you on the spot a minute ago because I didn't tell you that question, did I? But
no.
How was the match day for the final for you? And what was the night before like? Was Tom sort of like unapproachable at times because he's a very laid back lad? You're very laid back as well, actually. But was it tetchy?
I wouldn't say he was tetchy, but his mind was always on the game, which is fair enough. It was a huge game, and obviously he needs to get into the zone. But I wouldn't say he was tetchy. Could never say he was tetchy.
Right. So the day then. So how did it was a Saturday, wasn't it, that we went up there?
Yeah, it was Saturday.
Yeah. So how did you start and talk us through how your day went? How you went about meeting up with people, the club, the bus journeys? How was it?
Yeah, so me and Paisley, Andy's girlfriend, a few weeks before, we were like, let's do something big, because obviously it's the first time they're in this final. Let's try and celebrate and surprise the lads. We were like, right, let's get matching t-shirts. So I ordered them off Etsy and put like a picture of them dressed up in white chicks, like that they did a few years ago. So they came a few days before, so we were buzzing about that. We thought, that's a good surprise for them. And then on the day, we were FaceTiming saying, how should we style him? What should we do? And then, the morning of, I think it was just, obviously there was nerves and things like that, but it was just really nice to see kind of the club before it, because we all went down, obviously, to get the coach. And it was nice to see everyone in the club kind of ready to celebrate with like the drinks and the food and just kind of ready to have a good day out. It was good. It was a lovely atmosphere as well.
Yeah. So on the way up there, was it still as nice and calm as it was in the club? Because it was quite mellow to begin with, wasn't it? And then obviously the drinks happened, don't they?
Yeah, I think because it was a few hours on the coach, wasn't it? I can't remember how many hours. Like 2.5 hours or something like that. It started quite tame, and then as we got there, everyone got a bit more hyped up, which was good. It's nice to see, isn't it, that all of like the lads from the second team as well coming along and supporting. So it was really nice. Yeah.
How is it seeing your partner play? Because obviously you've been, no disrespect to other clubs, you've been some places in the rough, aren't they? And it's like just stood in a muddy puddle, like with just a piece of rope as a fence and stuff, aren't you? And then you've rocked up to the final with the other girls, and they're in a proper stadium, announcers, commentators. How was that for you?
We couldn't believe it, to be honest. We didn't realise how like official it was. Obviously, as you say, we're just used to going and standing on the side of a pitch and it chucking it down and us getting drenched and things like that. But yeah, we were shocked at how official it was, and it was. I think it kind of like took your breath away, really. Like, oh my gosh, this is big. This is like a big thing that we do.
Yeah. And how did you find the game?
At first, it was really emotional, to be fair. When obviously all the girls were sat in one row, and then the lads were behind us with like the drums and things like that. But when it came out and it was like absolutely silent, and I was just looking at Tom, and I could tell he was like really nervous. Even Tom said when they walked out and he seen kind of all of us supporting, he got emotional as well, like kind of inside. he got a bit choked up. So it was quite emotional to begin with, it like just seeing him kind of coming out, and this is like a huge game with him as captain. I knew we'd be feeling as well.
Saying out, wasn't it? So like everybody was like on good form as well that day. So
yeah.
when sorry Zoe, so when the game's done, trophies lifted, did you manage to get a picture with Tom with it? Did you manage to go and see him?
Yeah, so the kind of the game, they won the game ended, and then we all kind of went down to the sidelines, didn't we? Managed to get a few pictures with Tom and Andy and things like that, which was good and pays, with our matching t-shirts. So that's the first time they then seen the t-shirts, is when we won.
Right, okay. Class.
So
they were good, them t-shirts.
Yeah, they were good, weren't they? I think it said Widnes Wags on tour.
Right, so how was your bus journey home?
It was good. It was a huge buzz because obviously we've won, so it was, and we knew kind of when we got back to the Widnes, the celebrations would continue. So it was really good. Kind of, there was a huge buzz. It was like electric. Everyone was just buzzing. Everyone was walking up and down, sharing drinks. It was good.
Right. So when you get together, because that occasion's done, and we had a good night, didn't we? You all had a good night. So you are quite good at getting together and pulling. Even lads that only play now and then with their partners, and you do all the fancy dress and that, don't you? So was it easy for you to organise them things? Easy for you to organise, and because you bring that to the club, don't you? And the lads bring that to the club as well.
I think I've got to mention Lawson there really, because he is good at organising all these social events. I feel like half of them wouldn't take place. All of us wouldn't probably go if he hadn't have kind of organised them. He is good at organising loads of social events. But yeah, I think it's just because obviously everyone's so close knit in the Widnes, which is really lovely. Like Tom and all of his mates are so close and been friends for years. Then therefore naturally the girlfriends just get closer. So we all want to spend time with each other, and we all want to kind of be there and support the lads, which is nice. So I feel like it's just because we want to be there and we want to have a good time, and we always have a good time together, that we just keep doing it.
It's nice that the Widnes can be that type of hub for you, isn't it? So
Definitely.
It's a common, neutral, coming together place for you.
Yeah, definitely. I was talking to my friend Charlie the other day, who we do the running with, and she was like, why do girls not have like a place like the Widnes? Because it's just like where the lads can just go like midweek and just meet up and whatever. It's like the girls don't have these kind of things.
It can be that thing for you eventually, hopefully, can't it? So, no, it is. It's nice. I think like you have got it really right, and I know you're in your infancy with it really, and your lives will start changing when families come along and job priorities and work and all that sort of thing. But like it comes in waves, but it's been a long time, I think, since anyone at the club has seen that amount of people at that age group grow together. Because it's nice to. I sound so old now, don't I? But it's nice to see us all growing up together.
Yeah, and then obviously, yeah, definitely, because obviously, as you say, we'll all kind of get to the point soon where it's like people are moving out. Obviously, a few of us already have, like having kids, getting married, and it's like, it's nice for us to celebrate those times together as well and kind of grow, as you say, grow together, which is good. It's nice.
Key milestone. So what's the future? So is the Widnes going to be that type of place for you, do you think, where when you're grey and old, you can reflect on them white chicks t-shirts and just go, oh, how good of a time did we have there?
Yeah, I think Tom's part of the furniture by now, isn't he? I don't think he's leaving anytime.
So yeah.
He'll be there, he can still be there on the sidelines with Andy.
Yeah, no, good. Right, thanks very much for coming on.
Peter for being here tonight, as well as West Park, League, Wigan, Birchfield and the Referee Society. Thanks.
Start left the goal room for Eddie. We rolled on, got into November, following some great work by Smithy in his new role as recruitment agent. Our friends from the Marys came to the party and had a go at something new. A few calls into the Alton Hornets old guard.
First of all, just want to thank Wildy, Alan York, Spike, Andy Mack, Woody, Derek and Paul Newall.
In my career with Terry O'Connor and the side that was trying to gain promotion to Super League, sadly we failed, but it was a wonderful part of my life because it was a circle complete.
We're going to get on with the awards now, ladies and gents, so I'm going to hand back over to Tom. I believe Andy Mack's going to come up and help with the awards, is that right? He's probably been our player of the year for many years. He's represented the club at Sale. He's had an awful big.
The last couple of years, Ange, Derek, good luck next year, Kev's been involved. Of course, the Woody who stepped in the last 2 years, fantastic. We drove the team forward. We've had some great memories, we won't go over them all. Tom, you covered them, fantastic. This year, very good. We started really well. We got some injuries. We were fourth in the league. We finished 9th. We survived. We got promoted after we won Twickenham, winning the league. So fantastic year. Got consolidated.
As you can see in my hand, I've got a picture of us coming out at Halifax in the 96-97 season for the final of the second team. Unfortunately though, the day before it was actually the club dinner. And as people know, you don't go home early on a club dinner. And I think Les was one of the worst, in fact, and someone else was with him I think. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning and the rest all went about 4. So considering the results at the end of the game, it was good, but the first half we went out, or the lads went out, did the best, we were 20 points down, and then the second half we started to sober up, and we got back into the game, and in the end we nearly won it, but unfortunately we didn't sober up quick enough.
What event? Oh yeah, we left the club, got in about 5:30. Was really up for the next game the next day. Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah, a bit of a swamp to say the least. No offence, Dave Griff, but yeah, that was the start of the Twickenham run. That was a tough game. You guys won the tough games in the campaign.
Yeah, they were good. They were good in the backs for us. So I think it was a good test out. It was about for the first 10-15, I'd be saying, especially with the pitch being so heavy and just foggy up the top end. Where now, obviously, with the work that's been done.
Yeah, then once we beat Sunderland, which was another tough game, it was West Leeds at home. We were a bit rough and ready. You know, but I wouldn't say easy, but it wasn't the hardest one of the campaign, but it was still tough, nevertheless.
I think the real test was the one-step game.
Yeah, the one after.
In my opinion, that's probably should have been the final. Yeah.
So the run to Twickenham was a bit different to Darlington. As Darlington we only played 2 games, semi-final and final. But the run to Twickenham, I think we played every single game on that they had to offer.
Yeah.
every game, every round was someone different. Someone brought something different to us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
From obviously the home game with Keighley, where it was just a bog and a bit of a forwards battle until obviously it started getting into a bit more ease of a run from it, and then from there on to, was it Sunderland away?
Up to Sunderland, which was it was a good game. We didn't play particularly the best, but we got the win. Probably help with Alan coming off the bench and just decimating the team. But
Jack Gill as well. I thought Jack Gill coming off the bench was really good.
except when he ran into touch.
Go, Mike, go! Go on!
Did his good bus shit back with stars in the eyes, sort of by Liam Lawton here.
Yeah, it was. It just seemed to go on forever, that didn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody remembers getting off the coach, but there was some questionable outfits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously the week later we were playing. Was it West Leeds?
West Leeds. That was a good game. That. They were a bit rough and ready, but I think we weathered the storm early days, and we just blew them away. I think.
Yeah.
Then we had the pig afterwards, which they robbed.
Go,
Yeah. Yeah, and then for my opinion, sort of thing, that Wanstead game in the semi at home was probably one of the most enjoyable games I've played. If anything, probably should have been the final in a lot of people's opinions.
Yeah, I wouldn't say enjoyable for me. I got battered for 80 minutes. But no, it was a good game. I think they were probably the best team in the competition, in all honesty. I think we probably played our final on that semi-final.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because then when obviously scoring through Alan in the last few minutes to obviously win the game was like a massive relief for us to get there, and it sort of felt like job done, didn't it?
Yeah.
And then obviously to the final, a bit of an unknown playing Long Leventon and probably not starting for the first 20-25 minutes of the game, half hour of the game, something like that, and then we were behind the black ball straight off.
Yeah. It was a really hot day, and I think 5 more minutes would have beaten because they were big side and they were siren, but it just wasn't our day, I'm afraid.
Yeah. That was probably the biggest thing, just the heat and how much it was, because there's not much of the final that like around it, starting from the morning, stuff that you can probably, well, I don't know about you, but I can't remember from it.
Not much.
I just remember basically running out just before kick-off sort of things with quite a bit of noise, and then probably halfway through the second half I was settling down and actually being able to throw the ball about and play how we play.
Yeah. In the 60 minutes, I can't, but we'll talk about that.
But no, yeah, it was a good experience, and probably something that'll stay with me for the rest of the time I play.
Yeah, definitely will, especially being the first time the club's ever been there. So it was a good experience. It was a good experience for myself to lead the lads out. So it was a bit gutting that we got beat, but to play at Twickenham, you can say that really.
Dave Griffiths, granddad to Charlie Averton, who plays in the under-10s. I help run the team with Adam Latnan. We're having an end of season party here today, so it should be a bit of fun.
That's all, and then I'm done. But the last 4 years I've been back involved in, like, we've had Twickenham, we've had the national final that we won at Darlington. But to me, the biggest thing is this, because 4 years ago we didn't have it, and now we think we've got 6 or 7 junior teams. So the success for me will be you lot, and I promise you, this is a promise, that I will buy you a pint, every one of you, yeah, right, when you played one game of senior rugby on that pitch. Oh, but don't, it's not at all, you'll do it, I'm telling you. Yeah, so stay playing, keep enjoying it, and I promise you, one day, you'll be on this pitch and I'll buy you all a pint. And you get your first pint in the club off me. If the tours are still going, the rugby tours, you get your first hangover off me. So keep the good work up, parents, thank you. Keep the dedication and the hard work. Coaches, you're doing a great job. And just enjoy your rugby. Thank you.
Okay. I look forward to coming down and watching you when you're doing the 11s next year, guys. And as Spike's just said, really well done to all the coaches, the parents as well, for all the hard work they put in, taking you here, there and everywhere.
I did have a look at the Widnes team sheet the other day just to see if there was any familiar names. No Les Whitfield, no Crack Riley. I couldn't believe it. Those two seem to have played forever. But good lads they were. They were really good players, but more importantly, good people. And it's on the basis of people like that the clubs like Widnes, Lee, the Wiggins, that's how they survive. Without those people, you've got no club. And to see Widnes, or the Wids, get to 100, that's a fantastic achievement, and you know, congratulations and good luck for the next 100. But I hope Lee can beat you if we play each other again.
Hello, Crack Riley, having taken part in the Colts and Vets game, played with my 4 sons, my best friend Les Whitfield and his son Mark. We were the 7 backs, and that is it. I had a fantastic career, fantastic time. Just thank you to everybody, whoever I've played with or against, and it's been an absolute blast. Thank you very much.
name's Kat Hatton. I came down here in 2010 as a physio for the rugby club. I've met my husband whilst I've been down here. He plays for the first team, and now our daughter plays for the junior section, so she's in the under 7s and she absolutely loves it. It's a great club and fantastic for the kids.